Nathan Icon Crumpton, the flag bearer of American Samoa at the Beijing 2022 opening ceremony, wowed the world with his shirtless outfit in freezing cold. He is a skeleton racer, but he also ran the 100-meter dash at Tokyo 2020, making him one of the few on this planet who have both participated in summer and winter games. Hi, Nathan. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So you already finished men's skeleton race on February the 11th, and you made it to the top 20 at the Winter Olympics. So how do you see your performance here in Beijing?
I'm thrilled. I'm so happy. That was my goal. My goal going into these Olympics was to make the top 20, to make all four heats, to have that final run. And I'm so thankful that it came together. Every run was a little bit better. Every run was a little bit faster. I fixed my mistakes. And I was just thrilled to end with my fastest time and to make it to that final run on the Olympic stage. So I couldn't be happier with it.
Right. So you are also the first Winter Olympian representing American Samoa in 28 years, and also the flag bearer at the opening ceremony. So how does it feel to be that person?
I'm honored. I'm so honored to be here. I'm honored to be at the Olympics. I'm honored to be the flag bearer, and it's been a wonderful time so far.
Speaking of the outfit for the opening ceremony, you definitely amazed the world. So did you feel cold? I just wanted to hear right from you.
Believe it or not, nothing felt cold except for my hands. The only thing that was cold were my hands from holding the metal flagpole. Because it was -5 Celsius, the heat from my hands went into the flagpole immediately, and I thought, oh, this is going to be really cold. So I actually had to give it to someone for a little while who had gloves on to hold it so that I could warm my hands up again. And then it was okay for the short period. But before that, when we were trying to prepare, I had a big heavy coat, just trying to stay warm and do a full warm up so that underneath I was sweating and getting really, really hot. Luckily, I did not feel too cold.
Well, Nathan, you know, to many, competing at the Olympics is the pinnacle of an athlete's career. And competing at both Summer and Winter Olympics in just 1 year, that's very hard to even imagine it. So tell us more about your journey with the two editions of the Olympics.
It is. It has been very difficult, and it's been extra difficult because of the pandemic and because we have not had the usual break between the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics. And so I had to make a very quick change from the summer training and running into the winter training for skeleton. And I had to sacrifice some of my training and some of my performance in both to be able to do it. Most notably is I lost a lot of weight from the running, and I couldn't do all of the weight training that I needed to do before the skeleton season. And so I knew I was a few kilos lighter than I should have been. But it was a sacrifice that I had to make to do this, and I'm very lucky that my body held up as well as it did and that I was able to qualify for both.
Nathan, I noticed that you've been posting videos about your life inside the Olympic Village. So what is your impression of the village? I mean, the food, the transport, and also the tracks and the overall Beijing 2022.
Sure. I'll start with the track since that's where I finished off yesterday. And it's the most beautiful training facility for skeleton and bobsled of anywhere in the world, because it's spectacular looking with the mountains in the background and the infrastructure around it, the way that you can walk on the roof. It is just a beautiful, beautiful training facility. And so, and it's a fun track as well. So training there and sliding there, it's one of the most fun tracks in the world.
And what do you think of the pandemic prevention measures here, like the closed loop, the daily COVID tests, etc.?
It's been the strictest of any country that I've been to, because I've done more traveling in the last 2 years than I think I ever have. I would say that China's process has been the strictest by far. As a result, I should say, I think this is probably the safest place in the world. It's completely understandable, and I understand why they mandate these and why they're trying to keep the athletes as safe as possible. As a result, like I say, I feel very safe in this environment.
And I saw in one of the videos that you're trying to become an IOC's Athletes Commission candidate. So could you tell us some of your future plans? Will you be racing for another Olympics, or are you trying to speak for the athletes at a higher level?
Sure. So yes, that's correct. I'm running for Athletes Commission. I'm a candidate for that election. The results of that will be announced on the 17th of February. And then beyond that, for sports though, I'm retiring from skeleton, but I will keep running. And so I do have some track meets planned for this summer. And I hope to, as long as my body is healthy and as long as I'm able to run in some track meets and to still be an athlete, just in a different capacity.
Are we expecting to see you at the next Summer Olympics?
I hope so, but we will see if we'll see if my body holds up, and I still have to beat the other sprinters on the team.
So what does Olympics mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it's been a dream of mine since I was a little child, and I think that's the oldest and that's the original goal of mine, was to honor this dream that I had since I was a young child, watching other athletes compete on the Olympic stage. But in a more contemporary sense, the Olympics, to me, it's a model for much of the rest of humanity. It provides a way for the world to work in a competitive yet friendly environment. And I think that provides an example not just for children, but also for adults and also for multinationals and for countries. There are a lot of things that can be brought from that, a lot of lessons that can be learned, that could be replicated in the wider world.